Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. The birth of Kaizer Chiefs. The extraordinary story of Kaizer Chiefs is indelibly linked to the life and football career of the man the club derives its name from. While Kaizer Chiefs may well have been formally formed on 7th January 1970, its story has its origins in the tumultuous 1960s when Kaizer Motaung first forged his name as a teenager at Orlando Pirates before gaining global acclaim in the North American Soccer League with Atlanta Chiefs. As a teenage prodigy at Orlando Pirates, Motaung made his senior debut for the Buccaneers at the age of just 16, setting the then South African Soccer League alight with his explosive talent. Motaung was recruited in 1968 by Atlanta Chiefs to play in the inaugural North American Soccer League and made his debut for Atlanta Chiefs on 27th May 1968 against English champions Manchester City as a substitute, scoring on debut as Chiefs won 3-2. The South African ended the season being voted NASL Rookie of the Year and was instrumental in Atlanta Chiefs being crowned champions that year. The following season, Boy, as the South African was soon nicknamed in America, scored 16 goals in 16 matches, becoming the top goal scorer in the league as he was voted onto the NASL All-Star team. At the height of his powers in the United States, however, Motaung was drawn back to South Africa when there was major mutiny on the Orlando Pirates ship. In late 1969, Motaung returned home with Pirates suffering major internal problems, and with team manager Ewert Nene and three players, Ratha Mokotleng, Msomi Kwaza, and Zero Johnson, expelled and banished from Pirates and essentially rendered homeless in the football sense for various reasons. Motaung tried his utmost to resolve the impasse but was unsuccessful. Out of these circumstances, an invitational Kaizer 11 was formed in late 1969. Kaizer 11 played numerous friendlies, fielding a fantastic team with players such as Alfred Bomber Chaman, Vincent Tanti Julius, Ingler Singh, Jackie Masike, Herman Pele Blaschke, and Patrick Ace Nsolengwe, and the three former Pirates players who were expelled. As they played far and wide in every corner of the country, there was a huge, fanatical response from supporters to the flowing football and glamour of the Kaizer 11. And when the time came for Motaung to return to the United States, there was a huge clamor from fans for the invitational team to continue and for it to be formalized. Motaung volunteered to lead the process of establishing a new club which was officially established at 8414 Sencho Street in Pefeni, Orlando West, Soweto on 7th January 1970. Other than the expelled Pirates trio, other great footballers such as Eliakim Pro Kumalo and Ariel Kigonzwe also considered themselves free agents and joined Kaizer Chiefs, knowing just how much consternation this would cause at Orlando Pirates. It was far from plain sailing during the new club's formative years. Many within the football fraternity viewed them as upstarts and did not want them to succeed. Fortunately, though, most of the players bought into Motaung's vision of setting up a club that would be run professionally and trusted his integrity. With the support of various business partners to supplement Motaung's personal capital investment, Kaizer Chiefs soon became a force to be reckoned with, winning their first league title in 1974. Motaung contributed 13 league goals to the triumph, despite missing most of the season while playing for Denver Dynamos in the NASL. In addition to the 1974 league title, Kaizer Chiefs won numerous trophies in the early 1970s, including league titles in 1977 and a unified multiracial league title in 1979, the BP Top 8, 1973, 1974, 1976, Champion of Champions, 1972, 1974, 1976, and the Life Challenge Cup, 1971-1972. Fans flocked from all corners to be enthralled by the excitement provided by a team brimming with fantastic players. Joseph Banks Sedlodi, an accomplished goalkeeper who also took the penalties, defenders Masikwe and Ryder Mofengan, midfielders Petros 1010 Nzimande, Patrick Ace Nsolengwe, Vusi Computer Lamola, and strikers Pele Blaschke Michael Biza Dlamini, and Abedligo Shaka Ngobo were all instrumental in creating the swashbuckling style of flowing, entertaining, winning football that attracted supporters by their millions and has become synonymous with the Kaizer Chiefs brand. Of that formidable group of footballing pioneers, Motaung is always first to say that we as Kaizer Chiefs are standing on the shoulders of that generation. If it wasn't for the success they had in those early years, I don't know where we would be today. With the team's success came affectionate nicknames, with Amakhosi, which means chiefs or kings in Zulu, and the Pefeni Glamour Boys being the most prominent. The latter label was given by the supporters because Motaung always insisted that his players were always immaculately and stylishly dressed to fit in with the professional image of the club. Those halcyon years were also defined by the Afro hairstyle, which became popular with many players who imitated Motaung's trend-setting style when he returned from America sporting the new look. The club's slogan of love and peace came about as an expression of non-aggression in response to a growing wave of violence among fans of other clubs, especially when their teams were losing. The mantra was, and still remains, a core element capturing what it means to be a Kaizer Chiefs fan.
After wrapping up his successful career in the United States, Motaung returned home permanently in 1975 to continue playing for and running the club that he had helped establish 5 years earlier. However, he hung up his soccer boots only a year later to concentrate fully on guiding Chiefs on their path to becoming the dominant force in South African football that it is today. Motaung's decision to focus solely on the administration of the club in 1976 was swayed by the tragic death at Nene.
Amakhosi missed out on the 1982 league title, finishing third, but they remained the knockout kings, retaining the Mainstay Cup, Sales House Champion of Champions, and BP Top 8. Right back Mofokeng led the team through the successful period, succeeding Petrus Tenten Nzimande as captain in 1975 and holding the post until 1986, when Marks Maponyane mostly wore the armband until Howard Freeze assumed command in 1989. No other Chiefs player wore the captain's armband for as long as Mofokeng, who was a modern wingback in the sense that he marauded up and down the flank, providing good crosses into the box. He was a tough tackler and a true leader, guiding his teammates and especially new players off the field as well. 1983 was not a good year for Amakhosi, with only one trophy added, the Datsun Challenge. However, everything changed the following season with the appointment of Joe Frickleton as the coach. Not every player enjoyed Frickleton's tough-as-nails approach and increased focus on physical training, but 1984 was a fantastic year for the Amakhosi. Chiefs not only won the league title, but also the JPS Knockout Cup, the Champ of Champs, and the Mainstay Cup. Before the start of the season, Frank Jingles Pereira left the club after 5 outstanding seasons for the Glamour Boys as a genuine crowd favorite. Pereira joined Amakhosi in 1979 as a striker, but was quickly transformed to a defender, mostly deployed in a sweeper role. It was also the year that the young and talented midfielder Fetsi Chipa Molateri joined Chiefs for a then transfer record fee of 45,000 rand. Frickleton's abrasive methods, however, were not conducive to lasting success, and a series of poor results in the 1985 season led to his resignation. It was a disappointing league season for the Glamour Boys, who were only able to achieve the lowest qualifying spot for the BP Top 8, but they did maintain their phenomenal record of winning trophies by winning the 2-leg BP Top 8 final against Acadia Shepherds. But there was better news in 1986, thanks also to the arrival of Ted Mr. Magic Dumitru, who joined Amakhosi in late 1985. The Romanian football manager became a legendary coach at Chiefs and in South Africa in general. Dumitru was an unfussy coach who preferred to act rather than talk. He understood the culture of local football, and the players respected him because he didn't want to change their natural style of play. Players are not robots, the coach once said. They cannot be directed how to play from the touchline. They need to have the freedom to do things their way while working within the framework of a collective team effort. Chiefs won the JPS Knockout, National Panasonic Champion of Champions, and the inaugural Iwisa Charity Cup. There was less success, however, in the league, and the team had to settle for 4th spot. Absalon Skara Tindwa was absolutely brilliant that season, scoring numerous crucial goals. The striker from Swaziland won the 1986 Players of the Season. His compatriot William Coolcat Shrongwe, meanwhile, delivered some sterling performances in goal, especially in the JPS final, and has the distinction of never having lost a cup final in Chiefs colours. The campaigns were strenuous in those days, with games coming thick and fast. Howard Freeze, for example, made the most appearances that season, playing in 51 league and cup matches. More success followed in 1987, as Chiefs won another 4 trophies: the BP Top 8, Iwiza Charity Cup, Olsen's Challenge, and the Mainstay Cup. The league title, though, remained elusive. Chiefs had not been able to win the league title since the formation of the National Football League, NSL, in 1985. However, it was a close call in 1987. They were beaten to the title by Jomo Cosmos by a solitary point. To make matters worse, Chiefs lost to Durban Bushbucks on the last day of the league campaign. Marks Maponyane was chosen as the Footballer of the Year for an excellent season of consummate goal scoring. The striker, who joined Chiefs' first team in 1981, also became the first player to score a hat-trick in a cup final, scoring all 3 against Rangers to win the BP Top 8. In that 1987 season, Maponyane netted 5 goals in cup finals. As he was in 1984, Maponyane was again crowned as the Footballer of the Year in 1987, after a prolific season in which he scored 26 goals, 13 in the league and 13 in cup matches. Kaizer Chiefs' golden era is how Maponyane calls the 1980s, a period in which he says, "We didn't want to be second best to anybody." Jeff Butler took over the coaching reins at Chiefs in 1988, helping the club to another trophy, winning the JPS knockout after beating Jomo Cosmos 3-1 in the final. That was also when former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey joined Amakhosi, together with Mark Tovey, who would play an important role to help the Glamour Boys win the league title the following season. In 1988, Chiefs again just missed out on the league title, this time by losing in the penultimate game against Jomo Cosmos. As a consequence, Amakhosi dropped down to 4th position on the log, 2 points behind winners Mamelodi Sundowns. The league title was finally won for the first time in the NSL era in 1989, after Amakhosi finished 1 point ahead of Orlando Pirates. Other trophies won that year were the BP Top 8, Olsen's Challenge, the Charity Spectacular, and the JPS Knockout, the final of which was the opening game of the FNB Stadium when Chiefs beat Morocco Swallows 2-1 with goals from Dr. Khumalo and Shane McGregor. The club's success that season was built on a rock-solid defense that only conceded 23 goals in 34 league matches. They were led by Tovey, while Wellington Manyati starred in the defensive midfield role. Striker Shane McGregor, meanwhile, was selected as both the Footballer and Players of the Season, at the time the first player to have achieved this feat.
The 1990s, 1990 to 1999. The Rainbow Nation is born, and Chiefs show the way. The 1990s signaled a renewal and the advent of a democratic South Africa, which also spurred Kaizer Chiefs on to great success in this decade. The unbanning of the African National Congress and the release of Nelson Mandela by the National Party government in February 1990 sparked an outpouring of positivity throughout South Africa and the rest of the world. Kaizer Chiefs started the decade winning the Castle Challenge and Iwiza Charity Spectacular in 1990, and thereafter the Amakhosi were unstoppable in winning back-to-back National Soccer League NSL titles in 1991 and 1992. As equality and more harmonious race relations became the hallmarks of a new South Africa, Kaizer Chiefs again emphasized just how far ahead of the times they already were. Fittingly, it was the club's famous twin-strike pairing, Fani Medida and Shane McGregor, who showed that, in the words of Michael Jackson, it don't matter if you're black or white, as they led the club's charge in banging in the goals in this period. Medida set a record which still stands for the most goals in a single league season in the National Soccer League (NSL) era in 1991, scoring 27 times and 34 goals in total. He was in brilliant form and was selected as the league's Footballer of the Year and Players' Player of the Year in 1991. The striker formed a telepathic combination up front with the blonde bomber McGregor, who himself scored 25 league and cup goals in 1991, as it rained goals in the opposition net. Their fantastic understanding on the pitch was no accident, They worked on it and perfected it on the training ground and in each other's company for hours. In addition to securing the league title under Jeff Butler's tutelage in 1991, Chiefs also achieved scintillating pup success, memorably beating Jomo Cosmos 4-3 in a pulsating BP Top 8 Cup final. Cosmos's gangly and lethal Bafana striker, Philemon Chipa Masinga, was inspired in netting a hat-trick on the day. But a brace from Madida, a goal from McGregor, and another from Dr. Khumalo ensured Chiefs edged an absolute thriller and took the cup. For McGregor, confidence was a key factor for the team, something every swashbuckling Amakhosi side had in bucket loads over the years. Madida and McGregor were again magnificent in tandem in the 1992 season, netting 28 and 19 times respectively, as Chiefs were again victorious in the league. One of the club's myriad of wonderful midfielders was Donald Ace Kuse, who first featured as a teenager for the Amakhosi's arch-rivals Orlando Pirates after the Glamour Boys had decided not to sign the then 19-year-old, much to the disappointment of the great Patrick Ace Nzoelengwe, who had implored Chiefs to sign Kuse to no avail. Kuse later moved to Mamelodi Sundowns before eventually making his way into an Amakhosi shirt in 1989. Kuse, who was also nicknamed Didi after the former Brazilian midfield great, was an integral part of the Glamour Boys in the early 1990s. He was a showman, an entertainer, with phenomenal close ball control and a fantastic passing range. His silky skills were adored by the Amakhosi supporters, but for all his stylish qualities, he had that killer final pass which his able and willing strikers were quick to pounce on. The 1992 BP Top 8 final against Kuse's former team, Mamelodi Sundowns, was a match which belonged to the popular playmaker and remains one of his all-time favorite games. The match was played at Soccer City on 22nd February 1992, the crescendo of a ding-dong season in which the Amakhosi and Sundowns had battled it out for the league title, with Chiefs emerging victorious by 4 points. The stadium was packed to the rafters, and Kuse was heavily booed throughout the final by the Sundowns fans. The midfielder responded by scoring the game's only goal. Madida was the provider this time, as Kuse got on the end of a cross after one of his famous late runs into the box as he gleefully slotted the winner. The 1992 squad was one of Chiefs' best ever. We were all motivated to win cups, and we went on to win the double, league and Bob Save Super Bowl that season, as well as winning the BP Top 8, reflects Kuse, adding, "We had a great team, and we were always united behind one cause, winning." For all the club's famous stars over the years, the ultimate epitome of a glamour boy was Theophilus Dr. Khumalo, the baby-faced pin-up star who had more God-given talent in his shoelaces than most players have in their entire bodies. He had by now comfortably inherited the mantle of chief star from his father, Eliakim Pro Khumalo, and was hero-worshipped by the Amakhosi fans, whom he repaid with fantastic performances on the pitch as he won the NSL's 1992 Footballer of the Year prize. Doctor was also known by his nickname 16. And interestingly enough, 16 was his first jersey number. Before he was handed the number 15, he made so famous that it was officially retired by Chiefs chairman Kaizer Motaung when Doctor hung up his boots in 2004. Doctor will forever be one of the true greats of South African football, blessed with the most precocious skills which left opponents red-faced in his wake. Like Kuse, much as he could turn on the swag on the pitch, he too had that rare ability to provide defense-splitting passes to his strikers. When things didn't work out for us in the field, remembers former Chiefs defender C.T. Mapike, who played for the Amakhosi from 1986 to 1998, we begged Doctor in the dressing room to play, and he would do exactly that. Doctor would often carry the whole team on his shoulders. The disciplinarian coach Butler had his own special way of motivating Khumalo. Jeff was a tough disciplinarian. His way of bringing out the best in me was to be very hard. I never praised me even when I was playing well. I used to complain to the chairman a lot, Khumalo says with a wry smile, before adding, "But we won a lot of trophies under Butler." With the advent of South Africa's return to international football in 1992, many top players left Kaizer Chiefs for clubs in Europe. Madida was the first to go, heading for Turkey in 1992, followed by Kuse, who left in 1993, while Lucas Radebe left in 1994 for English side Leeds United, going on to captain the Light Whites in the English top flight and becoming a revered Leeds legend. In 1992, Crystal Palace became the first official English team to visit South Africa since Tottenham Hotspur in 1963, when they played Chiefs at Soccer City, the Eagles edging Chiefs 3-2 in a landmark encounter. If that Chiefs team of 1991 and 1992 would have stayed together, we would have been unbeatable for years. That team was untouchable. Tovi was also the captain of the first Bafana Bafana team, who played Roger Miller's indomitable Lions of Cameroon in South Africa's first international match at Durban's Kings Park on July 7, 1992. That first Bafana side was packed with players who have worn the Amakhosi jersey, including David Nyathi, Lucas Radebe, Steve Kompella, Kuse, Madida, Tovi, and Khumalo, who scored Bafana's first international goal from the penalty spot in the 82nd minute, which proved to be the game's only goal in an emotional win for the Rainbow Nation on their international football return. After the heights of 1992, the 1993 season was a disappointing affair for the Amakhosi, but there were some exciting highlights as Chiefs faced Manchester United and Arsenal in friendly matches in July 1993. The Amakhosi drew with a star-studded United, the 1992-1993 English Premier League champions, with Timothy TNT Lesenyane banging in the equaliser at a packed Soccer City. United and England captain Brian Robson rated Kaizer Chiefs as a tough team with many classy players who could easily compete in the European Cup, the former name of the UEFA Champions League. 2 days later, Arsenal awaited in Durban for another showpiece friendly. The two teams put on an impressive display, with Chiefs narrowly losing by a single goal. The year 1993 was also the year in which the Amakhosi first participated in competitive African Continental Cup competition, when they played in the African Champions Cup, nowadays known as the Confederation of African Football's Champions League. The Glamour Boys had reached the second round after easily beating Botswana's Extension Gunners and Rwanda's Kivuyu Sport in the preliminary and first rounds. The fantastic Egyptian side Zamalek followed at Soccer City on May 16, 1993. The first leg was a tense affair. Chiefs played well, but there was a setback when McGregor badly injured his knee, an injury which effectively ended his Chiefs career. The Amakhosi lost the home fixture 1-2, and while they fought hard in the football cauldron of Egypt, they lost the away leg 1-0 to be eliminated by Zamalek, who went on to win the trophy that season. In the 1994 season, Tovi, the club's captain, was the senior leadership figure in a team with many young and upcoming talents such as Thabo Muki, Jacob Chiseve, Tshepo Moladeti, and Thabang Lebese. Chiefs faced another famous English side, Liverpool, on 29 May 1994, with the match finishing in a goalless draw. The game, which took place at Ellis Park, was attended by South Africa's brand new president, Nelson Mandela.
Chiefs were pipped to the title
in 1995, the 3 points, rather than the two previously, for
Paul Dolezar had taken over the Amakhosi's coaching reins at the start of the 1997-1998 season, winning the Rothmans Cup titles with Chiefs in 1997 and 1998. Overall, the 1990s were another good era for the Glamour Boys, seeing them win 3 league titles and 12 cup trophies. The 2000s, 2000 to 2009, Africa's best club. Having been firmly entrenched as South Africa's most successful club in the 3 decades since its formation in 1970, Continental glory finally arrived for Kaizer Chiefs at the turn of the new millennium when the club won the African Cup Winners' Cup in 2001. The Amakhosi started their campaign against opponents from the idyllic Isles of Reunion and Seychelles in US Stade Tomponas and Sunshine FC respectively. Their African sojourn then got decidedly bumpier in the quarter-finals against Egypt's Ismaili. After a goalless home leg, an Arthur Zwane goal in a tumultuous game in Ismailia, which finished in a 1-1 draw, ensured Chiefs progression. Tunisia's Club Africain were defeated 3-0 on aggregate in the semi-final before Chiefs faced Angolan neighbours Interclube in the tournament finale. The first leg finished 1-1 in Luanda, with striker Luke Tukulili Petros getting the Chiefs' goal. The second leg was played at a vibrant, buzzing Ellis Park as Amakhosi sought to finish the job of winning the prized competition, which had been named that season as the Mandela Cup. As the tense match approached the 89th minute and Chiefs edged towards victory on the away goals rule, Stanton, Sindiga, Fredericks was brought down in the box and Chiefs were awarded a penalty to seal the game. An unlikely hero stepped up to take the spot kick, Chiefs captain on the day Patrick Mabedi, who coolly slotted home his kick to start the Chiefs' celebrations. For all Kaizer Chiefs' charismatic and skillful playmakers, it was fitting that the decisive spot kick in the final fell to seasoned Malawian international Mabedi, the most level-headed, calm, assured presence any team would want under pressure. It was a very special moment, recalls the Amakhosi's Turkish coach at the time, Muhsin Ertugrul. We were practically on an unbeatable streak, playing to a 4-3-3 and 3-5-2 tactical systems. We were strong defensively, with Brian Baloui in goal and Mabedi, Cyril Nzama as well as Gary Goldstone as defenders, while there was a very creative midfield with Thabo Muki, Fredericks and Dr. Humalo. Our wingers were great, Zwane and Marco Mathembu, with Jabu Pule creating havoc up front, says Ertugrul. On the pitch, 2001 brought more success, with Chiefs winning the international club competition, the Vodacom Challenge, after beating Ghana's Asante Kotoko 3-2 on penalties on 9 July 2001. This was followed by success in the BP Top 8 and the Coca-Cola Cup, which was won a week before the second leg of the African Cup Winners' Cup final. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, named Kaizer Chiefs as the 2001 African Club of the Year following their continental success, which prompted an emotional Kaizer Motaung to say upon receiving the CAF accolade that we have proven we are the best club in the country and now in Africa too. As much as 2001 brought one of the club's biggest achievements, it was a year which also brought one of the club's most painful moments. Devastatingly, on 11 April 2001, 43 football fans died at Ellis Park Stadium due to a stampede at a packed midweek Soweto Derby League game. This day, 11 April, is significant and will forever be in our memories. I get flashbacks when I remember the 43 people that died on this day. It is a heartbreaking part of our football history, says Kaizer Chiefs chairman Kaizer Motaung. This is a constant reminder to ensure that proper security measures are put in place at stadiums. May the souls of the departed continue to rest in eternal peace, adds Motaung. One player in this era who will always hold a special place in the hearts of Kaizer Chiefs fans was Daviton's Jabu Shuffle Pule, who was full of Kasi flavor with his abundance of confidence, character and phenomenal skill with the ball at his feet. Pule was a big figure in Kaizer Chiefs' African Cup run and domestic cup successes, winning the 2001-2002 Players Player of the Season (IH). I was very focused that season. God gave me the power and strength to play well, comments Pule. Another player who, along with Shuffle, made his breakthrough in Amakhosi's colours at the turn of the millennium was Siyabonga H. Nomveti, who was Pule's polar opposite in terms of temperament, but with whom he shared a special on-field bond. The blisteringly fast Nomveti had a dream start to his Amakhosi career, scoring on debut after 7 minutes, having joined from African Wanderers. But the striker broke his arm soon after netting the goal and had to be substituted before half-time, ending up spending months on the sidelines. He was devastating on his return though, scoring 22 goals in all competitions en route to winning the 1999-2000 Player of the Season prize. A season in which Nomveti netted the winner against Mamelodi Sundowns in the Bob Save Super Bowl final. Nomveti stayed at Kaizer Chiefs for 3 seasons, scoring 42 goals in 79 games, before going on to play in Italy at Udinese, Salernitana and Empoli,
during a top-flight career that spanned over 20 years. I never imagined that a guy from KwaMashu would be able to play for a big club like Kaizer Chiefs. Playing for Chiefs also made my name bigger, which led me to being selected for Bafana Bafana and going on to play my football overseas, says Nomvete. A massive moment for the club was when South Africa's iconic president, Nelson Mandela, officially opened the Kaizer Chiefs village on 5th April 2002. Chairman Kaizer Motaung explains that the relationship the club held with the beloved statesman went back many years and that Madiba had a special love for the Glamour Boys. He would support all the football clubs but had a special love for Chiefs. He would call me to wish us good luck on the eve of the derbies against Orlando Pirates and major cup finals. And that famous Madiba magic certainly rubbed off on the Amakhosi, who under the guidance of coach Ted Dumitru finally broke the Kaizer Chiefs' 12-year league title drought in 2003-2004 and then won the league again back-to-back for good measure in 2004-2005. We had a great defensive record for the 2003-2004 season, only conceding 11 goals in 30 matches, reacts Nzama, part of that miserly defense that also included the likes of Mabedi, Fabian McCarthy, Derek Spencer and David Kanamea, who jealously guarded the goal of Chiefs keepers Brian Baloyi and Rowan Fernandez in that championship-winning season. As they say, strikers will win you games, but defenders will win you the league. There was a great understanding about us, and we often won games 1-0. We had a great team spirit, with players willing to fight for each other, adds Nzama. The 2003-2004 season started off with the club going to the Peace Cup in South Korea, playing against France's Olympique Lyon, Korea's Songnam Ilhwa and Turkey's Besiktas, as Kaizer Chiefs' prestige continued to grow on the international stage. While the defenders were the unsung heroes, the evergreen and hard-working defensive midfielder Tinashe Nengomasha picked up the PSL Player of the Season and Players Player of the Season awards. He was called Mr. Reliable because he seldom had a bad game, working tirelessly for the likes of seasoned Bafana star John Shoes Moshow. In again winning the league in the 2005-2006 season, Chiefs went on a 5-month unbeaten run of 19 games. Zambian striking phenomenon Collins Mbesema literally burst onto the South African footballing scene in this season, netting an amazing 35 goals in total, including 24 in the league with his combination of power, guile and speed, as he cleaned up at the league's awards as by far the season's standout player. Zama was instrumental in helping young recruits understand the culture of the club and often took foreign recruits such as Mbesema and Nengomasha to the Motaung family home in Pefeni. I wanted to show them where the club was founded and where the club comes from, Zama explains, adding that he also took them to Bryce in Soweto to bring them closer to the club's fans. It's important for new players and youngsters to understand the culture of the club, says the man affectionately known as Skoko. Nzama singles out the back-to-back league titles as his high point at Kaizer Chiefs. Winning the league title for the first time after 12 years was massive, Nzama reflects. And to then win it again the following season was something very special. Of course, winning the Mandela Cup comes close. In those days, there wasn't even much money in African Cup competitions. We purely played for pride. We wanted to be the first Chiefs team to win a trophy on the African continent and become part of the history of the club. One of the young players who benefited from the guidance of Nzama was Kaizer Motaung Jr., the chairman's youngest son, who scored 12 goals in the 2006-2007 season and netted in a 4-3 penalty shootout win against the legendary Manchester United in that season's Vodacom Challenge. Motaung Jr. had a nose for the goal and for being in the right place at the right time, and he could also lay on some defense-splitting passes. He formed a brilliant partnership up front with Bafana legend Sean Batlett. Unlike any other player, the surname on the back of my jersey has meant that I have had...
In 2007, a 20-year-old Itumeleng Kune made his debut as a goalkeeper for Kaizer Chiefs. A passionate fan of the club first and foremost, Kune cried uncontrollably as a youngster when watching on television as the Amakhosi's bitter rivals Orlando Pirates hammered his Chiefs idols 4-1 in a Soweto derby. I know how hard it is for Chiefs fans to see their team lose a game, because I have experienced it myself, says Kune. The goalkeeper had come for trials at the club as a striker in late 1999. When not making the grade, he returned for further trials in 2000, this time as a defender. It didn't help, and Kune still wasn't selected. But he didn't give up, often pitching up at training sessions of Chiefs' youth sides and acting as a ball boy and later even as a water boy. When at one training session the goalkeeper for the under-13s was not available, Kune, who had never been in goal before, put himself forward, and the rest is history as Itu became one of not only Kaizer Chiefs, but Bafana Bafana's most treasured goalkeepers and captains. Kune's first season turned to be one of those dreams come true. He kept a clean sheet in almost half of the league matches played, 13 in 27 starts, which helped Chiefs to the best defensive record in 2007-2008. His heroics in the Telkom knockout final, saving 3 penalties in the shootout, helped Amakhosi to beat Mamelodi Sundowns and himself to win the Player of the Tournament award. He was also named as the PSL Players of the Season and won the Goalkeeper of the Season award. The Naughties again produced numerous cups and 2 league titles. Winning the African Cup Winners' Cup, or Mandela Cup, was something to be treasured though. It was indeed special, reflects Arthur 1011 Zwane, the exciting winger who was one of the star players in the 2000s. The culture of a club like Kaizer Chiefs is to win at all time. Winning the Mandela Cup was particularly special because of the difficulties of playing away on the continent and the treatment you are given. It makes you believe that nothing is impossible. Also, because we were representing our country and the trophy was named in honor of the great Nelson Mandela, we felt an extra motivation to win the cup, Zwane added. The 2010s, 2010 and 2019, rock-solid defense leads Chiefs to memorable league victories. Kaizer Chiefs started the decade becoming the first team to win the South African League Cup twice in the same calendar year. At the end of the 2009-2010 season, Chiefs beat Ajax Cape Town 2-1 in the final of the Telkom knockout in Durban on 10th of April 2010. Goals in each half, the Mandala Masango and Knowledge Musona, handed Kaizer Chiefs a 2-1 victory in the Telkom knockout final played in front of a packed ABSA stadium on an electric Saturday night. It was a sweet victory for the Glamour Boys, led by Serbian head coach Vladimir Vermasevic. It was a tournament in which goalkeeper Arthur Bartman shined, keeping 3 clean sheets in succession in Chiefs' road to the final. Kaizer Chiefs opened the scoring when Mandala Masango pounced for his second of the competition in the 20th minute, after Bafana goalkeeper Hans Vonk could only parry punch Menzanama's well-struck cross. The smiling assassin Knowledge Musona doubled Chiefs' lead in the 46th minute, when he pounced on a defensive error to make it 2-0, a lead Chiefs would not relinquish despite Dio Sabisi's late second-half goal for Ajax. The year 2010 was of course the year South Africa made history by becoming the first African country to host the FIFA World Cup, and Kaizer Chiefs players were prominent in leaving their mark on the tournament's annals. Chiefs midfielder Siphiwe Tshabalala started the tournament in the most sensational fashion when, in front of over 90,000 fans in the stadium and millions watching around the world, he lashed in a thunderbolt piece of art of a goal from over 30 yards out, which nestled in the top corner of the Mexican goal for a stunning opening goal of the tournament. Chiefs keeper Itumeleng Kune was also in the Bafana Bafana starting lineup for that historic opening game on 11th June 2010. Also in that starting lineup were players who wore the Kaizer Chiefs jersey with distinction at some point in their careers, such as Sibaniso Gaksa, Renewe Lecholonyane, and Katledo Wampela. With the league season rearranged to accommodate the 2010 FIFA World Cup, Chiefs went on to defend their Telkom knockout crown in the first half of the 2010-2011 season on 5th December 2010, defeating arch-rivals Orlando Pirates in the final 3-0. A break from Statispo Ngobo, and another long-range stunner from man-of-the-match Siphiwe Tshabalala, who played the game despite his mother being in hospital, landed Chiefs their 13th League Cup title to halt what had been a dominant season for the Buccaneers. Amakhosi went on a good run, winning 4 titles in 3 seasons under the tutelage of Stuart Baxter, who assumed the helm at the start of the 2012-2013 season. Baxter's first spell at the Amakhosi between 2012 and 2015 was a successful, trophy-laden period in which he led Chiefs to league titles in the 2012-2013 and 2014-2015 seasons, and to a runners-up spot in 2013-2014. The club also won the Nedbank Cup title in his first season in 2012-2013 and the MTN 8 in 2014-15 under his tenure. The Englishman led Chiefs to a double in his first season in charge, landing Chiefs their first league title in 7 years, as well as the club's first South African Cup title in 6 years, as Chiefs did the double for the first time since the 2004-2005 season. Chiefs were rock-solid defensively in winning the league in 2012-2013 league title, with players like Tefo Mashamaite, Eric Matoho, and Sibaniso Goksek excelling, while they had a midfield containing the likes of Sipiwe Shabalala, Renoué Lecho Lonyane, Willard Kutstande, Gerald Sebeko, and the irrepressible Tinashe Nengamasha, with Bernard Parker top scorer in all competitions with 14 goals, league top scorer of the season Lethalone Mojoro with 11 goals, Kingston Naktha, Kaizer Motaung Jr., and Josta Dladla up front in what was a strong combination. It was Chiefs goalkeeper Itumeleng Khune who took all the plaudits as he was named Premier League Soccer Player of the Season, as he kept 12 clean sheets in 29 league appearances for Amakhosi and was instrumental in Chiefs winning the Nedbank Cup for the first time since 2006. Khune was also named Goalkeeper of the Season, handing his award to Chiefs goalkeeper coach Rainer Dinklacker as a symbol of appreciation for the popular German goalkeeper coach's contribution to the remarkable career he has had both as Chiefs and Bafana keeper. Khune was also named the Nedbank Cup player of the tournament, having helped Amakhosi complete a season double with a win in the final over SuperSport United at Durban's Moses Mabhida Stadium. Amakhosi, despite narrowly missing out on the 2013-2014 league title, went on to win another double under Baxter in 2014-2015, collecting the league title and the MTN8 crown. Chiefs clinched the 2014-2015 league title on May 9, 2015, when ABSA Premiership Player of the Season Tefo Mashamaite had just featured in his 40th game of all competitions for that season. The player had played in what was his 30th league game for Kaizer Chiefs that season, in a season that on a personal level turned out to be a wonderful one for Mashamaite, as he ended up being the ABSA Premiership Players of the Season, Defender of the Season, and Player of the Season in a campaign that amazingly saw him stay on the field for all 2,700 minutes that Chiefs were on the field that campaign. For Mashamaite, the impetus came from captaining Chiefs to winning the 2014 MTN8 tournament, and him scoring the only goal in the final in a 1-0 win for Chiefs over Orlando Pirates. We had great players in our squad. We put the previous season behind us, and to have someone like Stuart Baxter, who was a great man manager, helped us. He pushed us and constantly reminded us how good we were as players. This helped put us back to the confidence level that we needed to be at, which ultimately led to us reclaiming the glory, Mashamaite says. Chiefs were absolutely miserly in defense in 2014-2015, conceding just 14 goals in their 30 league games to comfortably win the league title well ahead by 12 points of nearest rivals Mamelodi Sundowns. George Lebese, Bernard Parker, and Mandla Masango all top scored in the league season in what was a supreme team performance. Itumeleng Khune was outstanding in goal, and alongside Mashamaite there were quality defenders such as Eric Matoho, Sibaniso Goksek, and Morgan Gould, who formed a strong and almost impregnable defensive line. In midfield there was the steel of the likes of Willard Kutstande and the flair from players like Renoué Lecho Lonyane, Pule Ekstein, Josta Dladla, and Sipiwe Shabalala, with Lebese getting some crucial goals up front alongside attackers like Bernard Parker, Katlego Mompela, and Mandla Masango in what was a strong combination. In the 2015-2016 season, former Kaizer Chiefs defender and captain Steve Compella led Amakhosi to 2 cup finals in his first season as head coach, the MTN8 and the Telkom Knockout. Unfortunately, the club lost both finals, losing to Ajax Cape Town 1-0 in the MTN8 final in Nelson Mandela Bay and 3-1 in the Telkom Knockout final to Mamelodi Sundowns at Durban's Moses Mabhida Stadium, a game in which Chiefs missed 2 penalties in regulation time. In a barren period, Chiefs in the next 4 years went trophyless, being pipped 1-0 in the Nedbank Cup final in 2019 against then-national First Division side TS Galaxy at Durban's Moses Mabhida Stadium with Ernst Middendorf.